Hi, Elite. Welcome to another episode of the C Pod. Today, we're going to be talking about a very restrictive topic. Well, it seems restrictive for certain people, but actually, it shows you the ultimate form of freedom. And the topic is boundaries. Now, before we get into what our topic of discussion would entail today, I want us to look at the definition because I'm very big on definitions of words. So, from the Webster Dictionary, boundaries is described as the real or imagined lines, limits, or edges that mark where one entity, such as a person, property, or concept, ends and another begins. Another definition also shows boundaries as the limit of what someone considers to be an acceptable behavior. Another definition shows something that indicates or fixes a limit or extent. Boundaries are oftentimes misunderstood as walls, whereas they're like gates that gives this selective entrance into your life, so you can be able to tell yourself that I'm going to only allow whatever it is that is healthy for me, and I'm going to keep out whatever it is that is not healthy. Because without boundaries, we tend to fall into people pleasing, or we become very burnt out because we don't have a map of our limits. We are just essentially too open, and there is the tendency that we are going to fall into a period or a phase of our lives that we are not comfortable with because we have done things and we have allowed things that we shouldn't have allowed into our lives at a particular time. So we're going to be looking at three types of boundaries. I'm categorizing it into three because every other boundaries that may exist will fall into these these particular three types that I'm going to list out now. So first of all, we have the rigid boundary. Here you're keeping everybody at arm's length, a distance, be on your own, stay put where you are. You do not want any connection, you do not want any mingling because you've probably been hurt before. You take it as a form of protection for yourself, you take it as a form of shielding for yourself. Most times it tends to lead to isolation because when you do something too much is extreme, you're pushing people and saying, no, I don't want this, I don't want to connect with you, just be on your own. The reason is very obvious, probably because you've been hurt before, you've experienced disappointment constantly. It's not something that because you have experienced it one time you tend to just change like that. Is because of the frequency at which it has occurred to you in your life, but that you take up this particular kind of boundary mode. We all know that is a form of protection for you. You're trying to use it to shield yourself. So we have another called the porous. Here you take on people's problems as your problems. I categorize people like this as people pleasers. It may not be done consciously, it may be an unconscious act, it may not even be done maliciously, but at this point you are just too invested in other people's problems. You're not even thinking about your own convenience. You will have a very hard time saying no. Anytime anybody comes to you, yes, okay, when, how, what do you need? It's good, but at the same time it would hurt you sometimes because later you feel mistreated, you feel disappointed, you feel very overwhelmed by the time. But we are human beings, we tend to expect things unconsciously sometimes, and when that is not done we feel very overwhelmed with things. The next is healthy. Here you're very clear about your values, you're very clear about your expectations, you're very clear about what you want from the get-go. You're very firm on your no. Whatever it is that you've said from the beginning, you're very clear about it. But at the same time, you are very much open to intimacy, you are very much open to connections. But these are with people that have earned your trust, people that over time they've come to understand that this is your kind of person. You've shown them who you are without trying to be rude, without trying to be mean, but this is the acceptance and this is who you are, and they've come to accept you for that. So now let's look at areas to define boundaries, where it is very important to describe boundaries. We're going to talk about a very few from the numerous numbers of that they may be on the list. First of all is physical. This is your personal space. If you're comfortable with touch, if you're not comfortable with touch, you have to let people know. We have another emotional. Here you're separating your feelings from someone else's feeling. I'm going to give examples on tips, or examples of tips that we can use to respond to things in these particular areas. We also have another one. This is the third one: time and energy. This is how much in your day you are going to give to other people versus yourself. So there is a limit to everything. Too much of everything, they say, is no good. If you eat too much, it's gluttony, it's even a sin. So too much of everything, if you are doing it too much, is a sin. Let's take it like that. It's a sin. Now let's look at the other one: mental. You're protecting your right to have your own thoughts. You're not thinking about, when you're thinking about yourself, you're not limiting it so because somebody has already told me something about their problems. You're trying to deal with your own problem at that particular time. Whatever it is, your own thoughts, your own values, your own opinions, it will differ from the group, but it doesn't mean you're standing by it. You're saying, okay, I'm not going to give my time, the time I want to use to think about myself, I'm not going to give it to other people. You're going to maintain it. Now, when it comes to communicating your boundaries to other people, I call it the secret sauce of good boundary. The first thing you have to take note is that you have to focus on your notion, not the other person, not even the other person, not even their behavior. You have to be more concerned about your notion. People consider or confuse you setting boundaries as you being selfish or you being rude. That is not the case. Now I'm going to show you how to respond in certain scenarios. I'm going to tell you how to respond to people that are crossing your boundaries. There are sometimes a lot of us who think maybe we are setting our boundaries. Boundaries is not you setting your boundary. You're not asking for a request. You are telling them. We say things and we think, okay, because we have said it in this manner, the person has taken it that you're not comfortable with it. When you are seeking request, you are saying please. Please what? Just say, for instance, someone is talking to you and they are raising their voice at you, and you're telling the person, please don't raise your voice at me. Bow. That is not how to state your boundary. If you want to be very clear about it, you tell the person, if you continue to raise your voice, I'm going to hang up. That is if it's on a phone. If the person is close to you, you tell them that you will leave the room, or you will just stand up and go. And then you tell them, when things are calmer, call me and we'll talk about it. Oh, that was a bit harsh because I'm being dramatic, but that is the truth. If you continue, someone is raising their voice at you and you're telling them, please don't raise your voice. What happens to if you raise your voice? You don't have to shout. It's your word. You have to be stern. If you raise your voice, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to leave the room, and then we can talk about it when things are more calmer. But another way we can respond to, I'm very practical. Boundaries is maybe this is someone that just comes all of a sudden and say, please, I need your help with something, or please, can you loan me this? Can you give me this? Knowing fully well that at that time you're not capable of doing it. Why just say yes and then you'll be cracking your head, running helter-skelter to be thinking of how you're going to help this one, how you're going to solve this person's case. In that time, I'll just say you can tell the person that you would love to help with whatever it is that they have going on, but for you, your plate is full. If you're comfortable, maybe you're expecting something, maybe till a Wednesday or till a Tuesday, you can tell them that, please, my plate is full till so and so date. Can we talk about it, or can we revisit it by that time? You're not rude here, you're stating things as it is for you. You're showing your intention that you would love to help, but at the particular time you're coming, my plate is full. I only have an opening till so and so day. Or if you don't even have an opening that week, you can let them know as well. But just tell them that, oh, please don't worry, I'll revisit it again. I'm going to give you another way to respond to emotional boundaries. This is yourself. I'm calling it emotional because this is very sentimental and this is very sensitive as well. Someone is coming to you, probably they are very sad, they are going through whatever it is, and you are also going through something as well. I know it is very important to be there for your friends, to be there for people, show up for people, but not at your own detriment. And that is why when we tend to overdo things or go above and beyond for people, and they don't do the same thing for us, we are left feeling frustrated. We are left feeling used. But if you're clear about things, it would help the relationship to go smoothly, even if it is in the work space, that if it's in the corporate world, if it is with your friends or acquaintances, whomever. It allows things to go smoothly. At that time, what you can tell the person is, I can support you while you're sad, but I don't have to be sad with you. Now, this particular scenario is for people that expect you because they have told you something. Let me make it a little bit lighter. A friend of yours is going through a heartbreak and they come to you and they talk to you about it. And you have a party that you are going to. So because your friend told you that, I'm sad, I'm going through a heartbreak, and probably two of you are even together, you will now be moody with them. You are forcing yourself to be sad. In an economy that is already sad, you are taking on someone else's sadness. Give another practical example of how you can respond to that as well. You can also tell them that probably they give you a call on the phone, or they come to you, even if it's physical. It doesn't have to be on the phone only. Even if it's physical, they come to you and still with the same problem. You can tell them, I know that you're probably going through something, or you're going through a lot at this particular time, but I personally do not have the capacity to hold this conversation. You can then probably tell them you'll talk about it when you can. Let's talk about it when I can, so that I can give you my full attention. This is especially when you're going through something yourself, and at that particular time your window is just for yourself. You're feeling so overwhelmed. So rather than shutting yourself down because you want to be the savior of everyone, you forget yourself. So how are you going to give what you don't have? That's what a lot of people do not think about. You can't give what you don't have. You don't have that mental space. A lot of us know how to push and suppress our feelings, and at the end of the day, it would, you say, out of my belly shall flow rivers of living water. It's because you have it a lot. That is why it has overflown. This is good flowing out of you. Now imagine when you're holding on to negativity. Imagine when it will not explode. You will not tend to be a shadow of yourself because you're doing mother good or Mr. or father good. Well, it's not a crime to be there for you. I'm still going to say it again. It's not a crime to show up for people that you care about or people that you love. But it's also important to be mindful. It is also important that you are conscious of your own feelings as well. Now, this is in a workspace for corporate work, for the corporate people. This is for, let's say time is 4:50 or 4:55 or 4:58, someone comes to your desk and say, please help me with this thing. We are all collecting the same salary, and you want me to, I'm not trying to be mean. At that time, your simple response is, you are closing by 5. Don't call me after 5. Don't text me after 5. Whatever it is that we need to do, we will do it tomorrow. Especially when it's not even needed. It's not something that is we can do it tomorrow. Why are we killing ourselves to be doing it today? Once it's 5 o'clock, close laptop till the next day. You will not over labor yourself, because at the end of the day, if something happened to you, if you the office is going to find somebody that's going to inside. After all that ranting, it is very important to know that a boundary without consequence is a suggestion. Because for the boundary to work, you must be willing to follow through on your actions. Whatever actions that you have defined, you must be willing to follow through. You will feel guilty. It's normal to feel guilty, especially for the first few times when you're trying to set, this limit. Because a lot of us, we tend to mix being nice for having no boundaries. But if you're very clear if you have like really clear boundaries, that is the highest form of kindness that you can do for yourself. That is the highest form of kindness that you can do for people as well, because you can tell people exactly for what they love and respect about you. It's not guesswork. It's not we heal, we'll help, what I mean is, they know when to come to you, they know when not to come to you. Nobody's going to act dumb and say, so I did not know that you don't like this thing. I didn't know that. It's very defined from the get-go. My elites, I'm going to tell you how you can deal with the consequences of your actions, because you have told yourself that you are going to drink a bit of shaker and nothing is going to disturb you. You are going to stand like this as a wall because you are a fighter as well. How do you deal with the consequences of your actions, the consequences of setting a boundary? You have to know that, first of all, you have to acknowledge that people that benefited from you before, when you did not have any boundaries, they will be the first person, or they will be the first people to be upset when you start setting them. Because they cannot just come up to you and act funny. They can't just come up to you and be very, not in the right frame, not even just for mind. They have to act right. You have to get their feelings right, everything right. It is very, very important to know that these people, they will rebel. They will be the one to instigate and say, I did this thing that he's doing is very strange. I don't like how he's acting. I don't like how she's acting. I can't take it. Any manimo. They would you will get a protest, both hidden and very obvious. Another thing is very important to bear in mind, that their reaction is not just a sign that for the fact that they're reacting doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It's just a sign that it's high time. In fact, it is overdue that you set those boundaries, because a lot of things would have been avoided that they got used to if it had come earlier. I don't know if you understand that. So I have a question, and I want you to give me your feedback in the comment section. This is a very interesting topic for you and for me. You can tell by the way I have been ranting since. It's a personal experience. That is why I'm So the question is, what incident, let's say for instance you are the one that you do not have boundaries before, and you decided that, this is the time I'm going to start setting my boundaries. When you started, what was people's reaction towards that? That is the first question. Another question, these are for people, my people that have not yet started setting boundaries and allow people to, they don't know how to define saying no and saying yes, when to say no and when to say yes. So the question is, how do you feel when you go above and beyond for people and you don't get anything in return? That is the second question. I'm going to leave all the questions in the comment section so that it can be easy for you to respond to them as well. Because there are a lot of times we will give our all. I'm still going to say it again, that it is not bad for you to show up for people that you care for. It is not bad to show up for people that you love. But at the same time, let's do it with sense. Let's do it with moderation. So before we give the closing thoughts, I want you to click on the subscription button if you've not subscribed. I want you to ensure that you share to your friends. I want you to like and comment on this video. Let's know your thoughts, what you think about everything that we talk about here. I know that you've learned something here, so share it to your friends, repost, spread word for the world to know and see that you are learning something, and they too, they will need to learn it as well. Share it to even your enemies, so that by the time you are doing that thing, especially this conversation, by the time they are doing that thing, they'll be like, okay, this uncle, this auntie does not like this thing, and they are going to act right, they are going to act accordingly, compose themselves, do everything with composure and with steeze. Just send it to them, calmly. Don't do too much, just with steeze. Just click on the share button, goes directly to them. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. I'm going to end this. Let's end it here. Setting a boundary is an act of self-respect. It's saying that I value my peace, I value my time. You're telling yourself that all of this that I value is more than enough and I need to protect it. So as you go out your week, go about your activity, be yourself and ask yourself, is my glass holding my peace, or is everyone else just taking a sip from it? Don't forget to stay grounded, guys. Stay refreshed, and we'll catch up on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Bye, my elites.